Now, there's sometimes that I gotta admit when I'm wrong, right? I think that that's a healthy thing to do, and I think I was wrong with this Thunderbolts. You know, there's obvious ones like when we had the any of the Deadpool movies, this Deadpool versus Wolverine, for example, where you see them and you instantly know people are going to go see that, people are going to like that. It does not matter what's in that movie. It's got Ryan Reynolds, it's got Hugh Jackman, and he's reprising his role after he said he wouldn't for Wolverine. He's been doing that a lot. He's been doing that whole. It's weird. He's like constantly saying that he's done with Wolverine, but then he just fucking keeps on. He just keeps on making Wolverine movies. I don't know what that's about. I got to look into that. But when this movie came out, I said, "Oh my god, another one." That was my original thought. They've got another one, another movie. Now listen, how do I phrase this? Some of you might watch a few Marvel stuff, okay? Some of you might partake in a few Marvel. Some of you realize that Marvel's owned by Disney, and you no longer partake in lay Marvel. Or you only watch the ones that people agree are not full of bullshit. Here's my perspective. I have a channel. I like movies. And no matter how bad something is, I have to watch it. And that's where I come in to this whole thing. Picture you're me. Let's do a fun thing. Picture you are me. Fat, a loser, on YouTube. Besides that, you're watching every single piece of Marvel stuff that comes out, including keeping up with comic stuff. That's just for me, though. That's not really a punishment. The comics are fantastic. I mean, they've gone down. Let's be honest. I'm not, let's not fuck around here. They've gone down. But I loved Marvel vs. Zombies. Obviously, I'm a big zombie dude. Anyway, moving on. I watch every piece of content, no matter how bad. It's a sickness. And I have this channel, and I talk about a lot of stuff on here, and I try to give people the honest opinions. But my opinions are not... I don't think they're reflective of a general audience. So sometimes I make judgment calls based on trends. Well, the trend is I went to theaters, Kraven the Hunter, for instance. Kraven the Hunter that I went and seen, I didn't mind it. Okay? I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was the best movie ever made. I didn't think it was the worst movie ever made. I mainly went on the premise that, I have liked this character in the past. None of these characters are new, right? A lot of them aren't new. Some of them are new. I'm not going to talk about that in this video, or I'm going to get on to a whole bunch of we hate Disney because they're new, whatever. But Kraven the Hunter, pretty hard to fuck up. So I said in my head, I was like, I'll give the movie a shot, even though other people didn't like it, because I know that my experience with it is going to be different. I'm not going into a movie that I don't know anything about. I'm not going into the movie not knowing anything. So here we are, me looking at that movie, and then Thunderbolts comes out, and I have to say, my immediate reaction, whether you agree with it or not, was a fucking another one. The first thought I had. Great. Then I saw the trailer, and I saw some of my friends react to the trailer, and I said, they don't hate it. They don't hate it. But it's like this for me. We had the Suicide Squad, the first one, and I called that immediately. I said, no, absolutely not. It's not good. Then we had Suicide Squad, the reboot that came out. I thought that was actually really good. Now, people still hated it for whatever reason. In my opinion, people had not, I think they were just spoiled on the idea because of the first one, but, I could be wrong. But anyway, that kind of comes into this, where it's the same vein for me when I was thinking about it. When I was thinking about it before having seen anything about it, and I'm reacting to it the first time, I put two and two together. I said, oh, they're coming out with more of these guys, and they're trying to do the, let's be honest, like the whole anti-hero redemption group. And I connected it with all that stuff, and then I thought, people are sick of this shit. People are sick of it. But this one actually, in my opinion, surprised me. Now, I don't know what they're doing over at Marvel and Disney, and whatever, but I do think that they are adapting to what fans want and the general audience better. And they're moving toward some kind of new era where, it's been popular these last 10 years to be people like me, I guess. Whereas you're a white guy on the internet and you're complaining about Disney because they're changing stuff. Okay. But I think we're actually moving into an era where they're actually doing a lot of good things. Now, I have had talks with people like me on Discord, and they're not convinced. They're still spoiled. Their idea of Disney is completely different. But I'll say this. I have talked openly on this channel about how I thought Andor was fantastic. I thought Skeleton Crew is actually really good, despite I don't care, what people say. It was well written. It had good actors. It had decent plot lines. It literally had everything so well done. And then to think about people not giving it a chance because of previous stuff. Well, and that sucks. Now, I have to watch everything, right? So even I was hesitant. I was going to make a video on how, originally, my first thought was, I know the angle on this Skeleton Crew thing after I saw the first trailer. The first trailer was very rough, though. So the first trailer they had come out, it made it look like a kid's show. It ultimately was not, but it did make it very, if you don't like Star Wars at all, you'll like this, in my mind. And I was when I watched it, I was pleasantly surprised that that's not how it went. So I never ended up making the video saying that Skeleton Crew might be bad. And it turned out to be pretty good. I liked it. But what does that say for Marvel Disney stuff, right? It says it's improving. In my opinion, it's improving a lot. And Thunderbolts, I think, is going to be fundamental proof for that, because while there has been improvements, I think Andor was popular. Okay, to be fair, I do think Andor was popular, but I think they are pushing out some of the right stuff in the right direction, and they're changing for the better. But how long is it going to take the general audience to be swayed? Because it took them a while to finally turn on Marvel and Disney. Okay, it took them a while. But a positive is even harder. When it's good, and they've already made up their minds to hate them, a lot of people don't want to go back on the things that they've said, right? It's much easier to keep hating a person if you put it down to the personal level. It's a lot easier to keep hating a person than to forgive them and become friends again. But I do think that I think people like me, and honestly people that are naysayers about Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars, and for whatever else, they'll have to accept at a certain point that they're wrong. Okay? My whole thing is, I've never, and I hate using the word, and you can tell me in the comments about how terrible it is I say woke. There is no other fucking word. If they would come up with another fucking word, I'd use the fucking word. I'm tired of getting those comments where they say, as soon as you said woke, I left. I don't want to see this. Like, okay, I get it. But I'm not one of those guys. That's the problem. But I have to use the word because there's no other word. I hate fucking using this goddamn word, dude. So here we are, using the word woke. Now, whether you want to believe it or not, that is a term that people use. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But here we are. Woke Disney rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And they, whatever creators, whoever was in on it, that phone call exists. That phone call exists online. You go listen to it. Here's the thing. There are guys still out there on the hate train. They don't even watch this stuff. They just tell everybody it's going to be woke. That's what they do now. They'll say, "Oh, there's a female. Oh, there's a female right there. There's a female. And this is that guy from Stranger Things. I kind of like him, but he's woke too. That Stranger Things is woke. There's a female in the front. She can't be in the front with dyed hair. That's a female." That's what they do. And I get that. I totally get that. When coming to a channel like mine, I totally get that some people will say, "Oh, well, you're saying the same thing they are." And I'm not. I'm saying that Disney and all this stuff is improving immensely. And we're going to have to come and accept that if the writing improves and the movies improve and the acting and the casting and all that improve, there has to be a limit at which we all just start watching the stuff again. Now, I never stopped because, again, I explained, what I do. But I'm pleasantly surprised. 93 on the user stuff. 91 on all audience. Usually that drops it significantly. I think regardless of what your opinions are of Disney and the practices and everything they've been doing, I think this is good. I think this is good for a lot of reasons. The IMDb always... When a movie is decent, it'll get a 7 for some reason on IMDb. When a movie did a less than what a general audience thinks, it'll go lower than that. But typically, if a movie did okay, it's... Now, why am I making this video? I'm making this video a little bit to tell people, like, hey, if you haven't seen it, you should see it. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to talk about the movie in this, except for the very surface level stuff, just because I don't think enough people have seen it. I don't want to put out that video. I know other people don't mind doing that, but what is that? So what's funny is people also ask. This means that this is what people are typing in. Anyway, that could be a spoiler. Let's not do that. But here I am talking about this because, again, I do think that Disney is pushing a new era, and I think they're back wanting to make money desperately, and they need to make money, and I think that's where they're headed. And I think what that means for us is unintentionally we'll get more stuff that's good and less stuff that's bad. And I know that this video included like DC and, you know, non-Marvel, non-Disney, Disney, you know, Star Wars. I'm talking about a lot of stuff, but it's a creative atmosphere as a whole. Once big people start making money again and the industry adapts to that, they're going to follow the trend, because the trend is ultimately to make money. Not a lot of indie people out there just making something because they have a passion. Okay. But the ones who are, that A24 is hiring, I think that about does it for this one. I respond to all comments, and if you've watched it this far, just subscribe. Okay, just subscribe. I'm gonna show up in your feed again. You're gonna have to see this fucking face. Just subscribe. Like the video if you can, because apparently that matters. But see you in the next one.